Hello all and welcome to another 7 minutes or less. Now, I did have a longer intro planned in the regular format, but with how much there is to cover in Xenoblade Chronicles, there's no time to lose. Although I'd heard a lot of praise for Xenoblade Chronicles, I didn't know much about the game before starting to play it. I heard something about two colossal beings fighting until only their lifeless bodies remained, and the game takes place on one of them. As it turns out, those beings were the Bionis and the Mechonis, and the game revolves around a war between the people of the Bionis and the machines from Mechonis who feed upon the people. During a raid by the Mechon, a friend of our heroes, Shulk and Ryan, gets killed, and that's not a spoiler, it happens quite early on in the game, so they vow to track down the Mechon responsible, avenge their friend's murder, and put an end to the war. There's a lot more to the plot than that, but it's a basic outline of why Shulk and Ryan end up travelling across to Bionis. There are several twists, double twists, betrayal, and all sorts that happen throughout the game, and it ends up going much deeper than I expected it to. At the time of making this video, I haven't actually finished the game yet, but I'll go more into that later. As you travel around, you get joined by other people who all have reasons for fighting against the Mechon, but Ryan was easily my favourite character. While he's the not too bright heavy hitter of the group that every game has, he had quite a caring personality and curiosity to him that I really liked, even if his curiosity was occasionally his downfall. He also sometimes sounded as though he was voiced by Vinnie Jones, which would have been awesome. You can only have 3 of the characters active at any one time, but you can switch between them as long as you're not in battle. You control whoever you put as the party leader, and the other 2 are controlled by the game's AI. I suppose this is a good time to talk about the combat system. As you can see, there are enemies on the field which for the most part will leave you alone unless you attack them, but others are gits and will attack you as soon as they see you. Normal physical attacks are performed automatically, but each character has a set of arts, and it's these that you pick, but only for the party leader you're controlling, which may sound as though it'll be a pain in the ass, but the AI for your allies is actually pretty good. If you win the battle, you get the bog standard experience, drops and money, but you also get AP, which are used to increase the effectiveness of your arts, and SP, which are put towards skill. Each character has 3 skill trees, and when enough skill points are collected, the character learns the next skill in the selected tree. Then there are affinity coins which can be used to make a character's skill affect another character as well. There's also tension shown by the characters' faces on the left, which boosts certain attributes. Oh, and each character also has a talent, like Shulk unleashing the power of the Monado and Ryan increasing his aggro. Did I mention aggro yet? Maybe I should. Or should I talk about the blue party gauge in the top left corner and chain attacks first? Or maybe the other things the blue bar is used for? Sod it. As you can see, there's a hell of a lot to take in, and there's an innuendo in there somewhere, so I did have to resort to looking things up a few times before it all sank in. There are tutorials and guides in the game, but some things aren't covered very much, and with so much information being bombarded at you all at once, it took a while to get everything sussed. One of the main gimmicks of the game is Shulk's Monado, which allows him to see glimpses of the future, which not only serve as plot elements, but you can also get visions during battle of what an enemy is about to do, so you have an opportunity to counter it before it happens. In your travels, you come across all sorts of creatures to slay, and each one has a corresponding level, so you know how good your chances of winning are. Enemies that are a similar level to you can prove difficult, so it's not cowardly to see an enemy much higher level than you are, and just like the courageous Sir Robin, bravely run away. Anyone get that reference?
No? Anyone?
Luckily, there are a vast array of weapons and armour to equip which help your chances, but seeing as it's one of those games where what you equip is actually worn, when the best armour for one of the rather sexy female characters is a bikini, because screw logic, having to watch her parade around wearing it was a tad distracting. Of course, I was gentlemanly about it, saved her modesty and allowed her to cover up. Much better. Aside from the main game, there is a hell of a lot to do, 480 side quests alone, but this is where I got caught out. Although I did a lot of the quests and levelled up a lot, there were numerous times I thought I was at the final boss, only for something to happen and the game to continue. It got to the point someone I was trying to beat was 4 levels higher than I was, and I got slaughtered. To make things worse, this was the first of the main baddie's 3 subordinates. At this point, my playtime was over 72 hours, so rather than spend even more time on a game that has already taken far longer than I expected, I decided to do the review and go back to it when I've done some of the other things I have planned. Of course, no game is perfect, so let's have a look at a few things I wasn't too keen on. Firstly, the graphics, while generally great and you travel through some absolutely gorgeous locations, it's during the cutscenes that the issues come screaming through. Granted, the graphics are still good, but they use the in-game graphics rather than FMVs, so issues with character models or textures become more apparent. I'm assuming they didn't use FMVs to save space on the disc, or because what the main characters are wearing changes, but some cutscenes don't have any of the main characters in it, so there's no reason not to have FMVs for those, especially with how epically awesome some scenes are. Next is a battle issue. When battling, you lock onto an enemy to attack, but during battles against numerous foes, it's easy to lose track of which enemy you're targeting, which may not sound too bad. If the targeted enemy isn't within range of your attacks, you can't attack at all, even if there's another enemy right in front of you. You have to either find the one you're targeting and move in for the kill, or change which enemy is being targeted and hope you target the one in front of you sooner rather than later. It may seem like a minor complaint, but when you're about to die, there's nothing more annoying than standing there like an absolute lemon while you're getting beaten into the floor because your target is more than about 4 feet away. Large battles also cause some lag, but that can actually help with the burst affinity. That's something else that affects the blue bar in the corner. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of quests to complete, and many of them require you to talk to the person that gave you the quest in order to finish it. The problem is finding them. Each person is only available at certain times, and they move around, but what makes it more frustrating is that they don't show up on the main map at all. They only show up on the mini-map if you get near them. The quest info can give you a rough idea of where they are, but even that requires searching. If the quest involves talking to someone else, there's no way of finding out where they are, so unless you can remember where they are, it's a case of running around hoping you stumble across them. With how many quests there are that require talking to people and how large the areas are, you can waste a hell of a lot of time looking for people. I ended up using the Xenoblade wiki to find out where people were, which saved a hell of a lot of hassle. Usually I say a game may have a few flaws, but it has enough good aspects to make up for the bad ones, and Xenoblade Chronicles took that to a whole new level. As I progressed further through the game, I knew it was going to be one of my top 5 favourite games of all time, but the further I got, the more I loved it, and now it is pretty much my all-time favourite game. If Xenoblade Chronicles X is half as good as this was, it'll still be amazing. See you next time. Additional, with just how much there is to accomplish in Xenoblade Chronicles, like the affinity chart, your reputation in each town, the item collectopedias, God knows how many achievements, heart to hearts, rebuilding Colony 6 and more, as well as a new game plus, I officially challenged Mr. Gerard Completionist to complete it. I'd love to do it myself, but he seems much more suited to the job. Good luck to you.